From the garage that sparked the global self-care movement, welcome to the Human Garage Experience, a podcast where we have unfiltered conversations on self-healing, consciousness, and optimizing your life with fascinating individuals changing the status quo. I'm your host, Garry Lineham, and I'm honored to have you here. Let's get down to it. So we've been waiting over a year to have this conversation.
Yes.
Yeah. And finally we're here. So let's sync up.
Okay.
Okay. Right foot over. Right arm underneath left armpit. Left arm on top. Head to the right. Body to the left. Breathe in. It always just, it's like we're together.
Yeah.
The rest of the world doesn't exist, the cameras or anything.
Yeah.
So Dalia, Dr. Kagramanov.
Yes.
I've been waiting for this conversation for a long time because out of all of the medical doctors and researchers and scientists that are involved, peripherally in the human garage, very few have had the exposure to the inside of the garage. Actually, none of them have at your level. To us, our community, myself, events, living with us, staying with us in different places. So I'm really excited to have this talk.
Me too. It's been a long time coming.
For those who don't know you, you're a researcher, you come from a family of doctors. Can you give us a little bit of a background?
So my parents came from Eastern Europe, old USSR. They were both pediatricians back there. In about the 1995, they started the process of immigrating to North America. And because of the immigration process, they lost their medical licenses. And so they weren't able to practice anymore. But prior to that, they were extremely passionate physicians. And even though losing their license, living in North America, they still obviously practiced and supported us with that medical training in the home.
Sure.
And so basically, as long as I can remember, as long as I could think about what I wanted to do with my life, it was doctor for sure. Then I think life karmically gave me exactly what I needed, which was putting my incredible husband, Alan, into my life when I was 16. And he had an accident at the time. And so that accident over time opened up a world of not only how the traditional Western system was able to provide him the surgery, get him, the rehab that he needed, but when that sort of clocked out and he was still having pain, what the other world of medicine and healing and energetics and everything can do to support someone that's going through pain or any type of illness.
So you guys met at 16?
I was 16, yes.
Okay. So it's been a journey. How long have you been together now?
Almost 15 years, yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's really cool. And then on top of that, currently, what do you do?
So at the time that we met, that sort of pivoted my focus from thinking that I wanted to for sure go to medical school to being a little bit on the cusp. And so that's where I started to get into research, medical research at the time. And so I eventually completed my master's and my PhD. I just completed my PhD at USC here. And so now I work as a postdoc at UCI in integrative cancer research and also in epidemiology and public health.
You're a real doctor.
Yes.
I always love that because you're not practicing with a medical license, but you're a researcher, which I say all the time is that, sometimes people say, well, that's not a real doctor. And I'm like, actually, doctor means educator.
Right.
And you're a researcher and an educator. And you start, and a lot of it's been focused on children.
Yeah. So I started my medical research journey in childhood and also young adult adolescent cancer. And so that world just kind of came to me, not on accident, of course, but it just sort of fell into my lap and I got into it and I loved it. And up until this point, I've really been focused on those that were diagnosed with cancer at a really young age, so mostly under 18, and then have survived cancer now and are, unfortunately, many of them dealing with the consequences of their cancer treatments. So any like long-term effects, pain, cognitive issues, things like that. Now in my postdoc career, I am trying to sort of expand my realm into more integrative practices, people that are actively on treatment, not on treatment, survivors, sort of widening the population of interest. But yeah, for a long time, it was that younger cohort. And I feel like I could relate to it a lot because that young adult cohort, those that got sick at a young age, they're kind of now dealing with the consequences in such a transitory part of their life when they're meant to be figuring out their careers, figuring out their long-term plans, where they want to live. And that was sort of my journey with Alan as well. It was like we were dealing with illness and pain at times where our friends were going out to the bars and they were, having fun and taking trips. And we were trying to do all that, but we were really dealing with just trying to be well. And so I felt like I could really connect to the population I was studying on a personal level.
So you manifested a real life experience
I did.
in order to guide your study and your career.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of cancer, that's an interesting one. I mean, I believe the world of cancer is going to be blown open in the next couple of years. So from a disease perspective, wouldn't it typically have to come from a gene? And it doesn't.
Yeah, so I definitely agree. I think a lot of the cancer realm is going to be really opened up and viewed from a different light very soon. And I can see it in my own practice too. Now, sort of merging into that integrative health space, there's so much interest and openness amongst clinicians and researchers to see things in a different light. I think there's many schools of thought on where cancer originates from. For me, and I think for many of us, energy and frequency is really a core root of it. And I think our fascia is what holds those energies and those frequencies. And so cancer cells, our healthy cells, are meant to sort of oscillate at I think it's like minus 25 millivolts. Cancer cells develop anything when they're below minus 20 because they can't replicate any new cells. So whether it's our environment, whether it's past traumas, whether it's what we eat, what we do on a regular basis, those are all things that are impacting the frequencies of our cells. That's why we just synced up, right?
Right.
To come into alignment with the frequency of
our cells. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So cancer in this, school of thought would develop from cells that are unable to replicate anymore. They're almost like lonely cells.
Sad cells.
Yeah, exactly.
So would you say that cancer is directly related to sadness?
I think in many ways, yeah, the emotions of sadness. And I mean, sadness is one of the emotions. It can be also then sort of subgrouped into fear or anger or, whatever it may be. But the root, I think a lot of the time, is sadness or pain or however you want to term it.
So I agree with you. I think that at the core root emotions, I see it as desire and fear. Like a wild animal desires to be, desires to be close to you, fears. They go back and forth without a filter.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a midbrain to filter that emotion. So sadness, anger, grief, all are a root derive of fear. Because if I didn't fear, if I trusted and knew everything was work out, I wouldn't have those emotions.
Yeah.
And then the other one is desire to do something.
Yeah. Yeah.
You start off by saying there's a frequency. Is this now starting to become I mean, I know that you believe that. I certainly, that's exactly the way I see it.
Yeah.
Do you feel that the world of medicine and research is starting to slowly come to that answer?
I think that, yes, in short, but I think just from like anecdotally my observations, I think that there are enough people now starting to recognize that there's more to the puzzle than just a gene.
Right.
And especially
because there is no gene that
right.
causes cancer.
Yeah.
So doesn't that kind of in the old model of sickness, or it
Yes.
just kind of disrupts the model.
Yeah. And, as you said, like coming back to root emotions, we're either hurt or we're scared.
Yeah.
A lot of us are scared to look at our health in a different light. We're scared to go against the grain. We're scared to view it in a way that is unknown. Our biggest, stressor in life is the unknown. So for an individual to get diagnosed with cancer, there's validity already shown in society that their cancer came from X. There isn't a lot to say it came from, disruption in frequencies. Now, I think the world is getting to a place where they're able to show amongst the masses in places like Human Garage that frequency and energy medicine is actually a big contributor to our health and can revert diseases and shift cancer and shift diagnoses. But the research world is going to take some time to catch up to that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, and it's because there's I feel that it's because there's a need to have an absolute proof but at the same side, none of the actual research that we're doing is absolute proof.
Yeah.
They want proof to believe that it's something other than the world that they grew up thinking.
Right.
But they don't apply that same standard to the current research or current belief systems.
Yeah.
So I want proof over here to say it's frequency or emotions or perceptions, but I don't want to use that same standard to hold the research that I've been following.
Yeah. And most of the time, the people that are quote unquote reading research, a lot of them, I would say, don't have the training to rigorously read and really piece through the research article to find out how the study was conducted and whether or not the way that they've titled the article is really what's being said.
Okay, Stan, and you're a researcher and a publisher.
Yeah.
So you're actually on the other side. So if you're talking to doctors that are out there that are practicing medicine, and you're the researcher, you're creating the stuff that they read. What message do you have for them? Like, how could they adapt or be better?
Well, in terms of sort of being more open to these other ideas and to the idea that frequency and energy is all connected to our healing and our disease, I think truly the best way is to have these one-on-one conversations. For me, that is what I have found. Just collaboration is incredibly important, especially in the academic world. That's why all these conferences exist. That's why all of these meetups exist. And I think the idea is to really be face-to-face in those communities and having these conversations and just being like, look, you can see this happening in mass communities online. Yes, there isn't the evidence there to support it yet, but can we come together collaboratively to get the data there?
If you're dealing with chronic inflammation, aches, pains in your joints, I use PowerKirk 30. This is a product I take literally everywhere with me. We travel the world all the time, and when you fly, your feet swell, you feel achy and pain in your body in different areas. And I'm not a big believer in using supplements to take responsibility for my entire healing process, but I do use PowerKirk 30 every once in a while when I'm feeling those aches and pains, inflamed, and I just need a little bit of help. So if you've never tried PowerKirk 30, it is the world's strongest anti-inflammatory. One capsule is equivalent to an entire bottle of another product that has curcumin in it. This is a patented product. It is the world's strongest, and I'm super excited to share it with you. You can find the link to PowerKirk 30 in the show notes below.
The other part of it is when does results become evidence? Because there's a lot of results out there in the world of frequency medicine, and there's a lot of results out there, and we're just not putting the energy to study them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we go back one, the funding for those studies will only come forth if we're able to provide enough pilot clinical trial data that's going to show an effectiveness.
So that comes back to who's funding.
Right.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I mean, what we're looking at is we're currently conducting, I believe, one of the largest experiments
Mhm.
on human health in the world, because we made it cool for people to talk about their stuff,
Yeah.
their disease, their process, their feeling, not just what report, take pictures, but
Yeah.
tell how it affects them, their family, share it. And within a year and a half, the way AI is going, we're going to be able to scrape all that data on the millions and millions and millions of people that report in our network.
Right.
That's what I'm actually excited about.
Yeah.
Excited about doing research, but from a different angle.
Yeah. No, and I think it's a beautiful thing to have all of these millions and millions of case studies. Now, you'll still be questioned from the scientific community to say it's not a rigorously designed study, whether it's, double blind or it's got all the components there that are going to show that this data is objective.
I agree, but at what point, what number does it have to, if it's, 1,000 or 5,000, I get it. But if we have 3 million or 5 million people or 10 million people saying the same thing,
Yeah.
there has to be a threshold at which it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and that I think that is the key there.
The scale.
The scale. Yeah, when you can show enough times that something has had an impact, it's hard for them to look away.
We have at least 20,000 women that have reported with medical evidence that they've come out of menopause between 55 and 67.
Yeah.
And I'm currently talking to a woman who's 65 who I believe is going to get pregnant again after being in menopause for almost 20 years.
Wow.
I mean, I'm not sure that everybody that's hearing this necessarily wants that, but I also believe it's because there's a condition, a belief that said that this is your time of your life. You're going to die at about 75 or 80, 85. But if you're going to live to 150,
Right.
and if your monthly cycle wasn't painful,
Yeah.
and you didn't have to fend for yourself the resources like we do today,
Yeah.
would more women choose to have more children? And I think the answer is yes, because I can see in my age, I'm 56 now, and I can see women who are my age, they're entering grandchildren territory. That's all they want.
Right.
They want the grandchildren more than they wanted the kids.
Yeah, less responsibility then.
Yeah, less responsibility.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, if a woman who's had kids that are grown up and they're like 30 now could do it again, what would they do differently?
Yeah, I'm sure all the life experience would guide them in a bit of a different direction in terms of raising kids and how they would approach it. Yeah.
I mean, I believe that that's going to be one of the first things that comes out of the human garage experiment.
Uh-huh.
Because
That would be super cool.
because it's happening in real time right now.
Yeah.
And we're actually gonna collect. What we're gonna do is say anybody who came out of menopause, click this link, fill out your information, provide any documentation you have, and then because we have like mainstream medical documentation. You've been in menopause for 10 years. Here's their issues. Now they're not. I mean,
Yeah.
we can debate why,
Right.
but we can't debate that it did happen.
Yeah. No, and I think the world of research, it's very vast, especially like Human Garage is a nonprofit organization. It's got philanthropic donations, right, that can help eventually support this research and analysis of the data and things like that. And
That's what I
think-
want to do.
Yeah. And
I want to fund projects that you run.
Yes. Yes, that's definitely in the future. But so that philanthropic side of research, I think, is incredibly valuable because it gives scientists that, like myself, that have had personal experiences, that have seen so much evidence, even by being so closely exposed to you, it gives them the opportunity to conduct studies that are outside of what the government deems at that moment important to study, right? Because that's where the funding is coming from. So those philanthropic funds are extremely valuable. And I think for the future of my career, I definitely want to find ways to blend those worlds together I think we need to be doing mass social media studies and gathering data and utilizing the benefits of social media. Of course, we know that there are many, cons to it, but there's a ton of benefit of being able to gather data from so many individuals and hear about their experience.
It's like a lot of parts of technology. Like if you look at even like pagers and cell phones were initially used by drug dealers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so social media has this application now, which I believe will transform itself into more responsible way of looking at it. It's like a lot of things that came up.
Yeah.
The internet was used for pornography. Now it's used to help and bank and research and stuff like that. So I believe it has its time. The
Yeah.
technology will get there.
Yeah.
I'm curious because I never really asked you. I'm not a doctor. As a matter of fact, I've never gone to school for it. But you've been around me enough.
Mhm.
How do you characterize when you tell people about who I am or what I do or what Human Garage is? What do you say? Because I'm sure people in your field go, well, he's not a doctor.
Right. Yeah, of course. Well, I speak very anecdotally from my experience, and I think the word doctor is irrelevant at this point. I think and the way I describe Human Garage is just an organization that empowers people to heal themselves. And you as an individual are incredibly skilled and naturally gifted to support people with your own energy to accelerate that healing. And call it what you want, doctor, educator, PhD, it doesn't matter. I mean, a chiropractor is also a doctor,
Yes.
right? And there are many layers of how people support other people. The point is that you help so many individuals get well. And that's what drew me to you in the first place.
You actually found me.
I found you,
And
yeah.
you told Alan to.
It was the peak of COVID. We had moved in early 2021 to California by ourselves for my PhD. Didn't know a soul. Of course, I spent a lot of time on social media, and I came across your page on TikTok, and I just, when your soul knows, your soul knows. I just watched these videos and I was like, there's something there. And so, yeah, a few weeks later, me and Alan were in Vancouver. We met you guys at one of your community meetups. And then a week after that, he was in Mexico.
Yeah.
And on your first lifestyle artist retreat. So it was so synchronistic. And despite always being in different parts of the world, I feel like our paths continuously
Cross. All over the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
all
we
the
always
time.
seem to be at the same place at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Mexico, Canada, US. Yeah.
Which has given us the ability to get to know each other and knowing your mission and how it was focused around children and your research and stuff like that. It became really interesting because you have been able to experience this, and there's a lot of practitioners out there. I mean, we are followed by doctors all over the world in all forms of medicine, but they don't have the access that you have. So, I can see from the outside, I do some pretty crazy things. So I can see from the outside that professionals would say, hey, this works, but there's also this crazy edge to it that it's a little uncomfortable.
Yeah. I think it's really important to, what's the expression, get your hands in the dirt, experience it yourself. And I think, maybe an arm for you guys in the future is really going to these medical conferences.
We're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what I engaged Dr. Patel with in London. He's putting together this Fascia exploration group.
Oh, cool.
Not a research.
Yeah.
Exploration.
Yeah.
Because we're not researching it, we're exploring it.
I mean, that is what research is. It's exploring.
That's what it's supposed to be. Right? I mean, I think the exploration got taken out of a lot of the research.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, I was writing some specific aims this morning, and the aims are to explore.
Yeah.
It's to explore the scientific question at hand. And we don't know what we're going to find, but it's an exploration.
So I proposed a whole bunch of questions as part of the philosophy of Human Garage. If you're a doctor, a practitioner, or a coach, and you're wanting to take your practice to the next level and move people from you care to self-care, this entire revolution of self-care is moving on, and we want you. Become a mentor of people's health rather than a fixer of people's health. The certified coaching program is designed to help you transition out of a practice which draws all the energy out of you to a practice that brings life to you and others. Join below with our certified coaching program and transform your career, your business, and your life. So the way I looked at it was, because my background is data science, really, entrepreneur, data science, problem solving. So if I have a macro and I have a bunch of formulas, if all of a sudden the numbers are working on that macro on that spreadsheet and then they stop working, that tells me one of two things. It tells me that the formula is an error in the formula, or what I'm formulating against the value is corrupt. And so the way I looked at medicine was from a very practical standpoint. I said medicine or healthcare or human health experience. As I said, in my own experience, I had all these things that worked for me, all these different modalities, all these different shamanic practices, and they worked.
Yeah.
And then they stopped. So it's like the data, the formula worked, and then all of a sudden the numbers didn't compute anymore.
Right.
So I looked at it and said one of two things: either there's something wrong with the practice, or there's something, or there's something wrong with the value. And the way I looked at it was, all of the practices can't be wrong.
Yeah.
They all have to have some value or something in them that works. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been around for decades or hundreds of
Right.
years or thousands of years or millennia. So either they're all simultaneously wrong, or the value they're formulating against is wrong. And so I took that as my way to say, what is a human? Because we're formulating against what is a human.
Right. Right.
So I have a lot of things that I say: bones aren't structure, brain's not in charge. Those are fundamentally, and then energy, DNA, or basically biology responds to energy. Those are like core tenets of my belief system. And I feel like you feel like those are also true.
Yeah, I do. And I think well, spending a lot of time with you, you've been able to show me in many ways how a lot of these pillars are true. And I think the point is that as a scientist, I'm continuously open. I'm open to these pillars being correct. And I'm also open to the fact that in 10 years, they may shift to a different pillar or a different viewpoint of how bones are organized in the body, or how our muscles are pulled. And I think that is the key that I would love scientists to really adopt more and more, is just being continuously open
Yeah, I think
to the change.
I'm not claiming to know the answer, but I am pointing out a big hole in the current narrative.
Based on the experiences that you've had.
Sure.
You've been your own experiment,
Yeah.
right? And so from your own work and what you've done to your body to heal and come out of pain and all of these things, that's where you've developed those pillars, right? And seeing it in other people.
And then, replicating it.
Right. So you've had enough evidence from your own viewpoint to say, this is a new perspective that we need to consider.
Yeah.
Somebody can believe it's true or not, but you have enough data to support that.
Yeah, and for me, I have strong beliefs, but they are loosely held.
Yeah.
Like I strongly believe something until somebody presents me evidence, which I'm willing to listen to and hear.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, that makes sense, and I will shift my belief right away.
Yeah.
And I because I don't feel that we can define the human experience.
No.
I think we're trying to define it with our thought, and I don't believe that my perception of the human experience, I don't believe that I'm capable of having a complete understanding. I mean, and I've had several near-death experiences, so I've crossed over, and even with that, it gave me a different insight. But still,
Yeah.
I know enough to know that I don't know.
Right. And like you said, something works for somebody at some point. The amount of times that I've been to a clinic or an office where both traditional medical doctors and energetic healers, and they've said, just do this and you're for sure going to be better.
Yeah.
And the same thing to Alan, just do this and you're 1,000,000% going to get out of pain. This is all you need to do. And it works until it doesn't.
So it doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
So pain. I showed you an example of pain, an anecdotal example. I've shared it with you a year ago.
Yeah.
Actually, you were the first one I shared it with.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Because I was trying it out to see if the example would be good enough.
Yeah.
And what do you, after seeing that, what do you feel pain is?
Pain is an alert in the body that you need to pay attention to something.
Yeah.
That's how I view it.
And if I pay attention to it,
then the signal decreases.
So And that was the idea, showing an anecdotal experiment where I put the body into pain, have them pay attention, it goes away, take the tension away, it goes up,
Yeah.
pay attention, and then give a statement to the body.
Yeah.
So the way I see it is that the body is looking to to feel safe as one, but the body feels safe even if it's compromised, but there's an understanding.
Yeah.
So if the body can understand why something's happened, it can then deal with it. If it doesn't understand, then
Yeah.
it continues to seek to understand, and it drives this insane reaction from the brain to try to explain it or label it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because the body, when we put an insult or impact the body, it says, "Am I safe?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do I know what this is? Do I like it?"
Yeah.
Those are all the things that the body has to answer. If we say, "Okay, I don't know what it is, but I'm okay with it,"
Yeah.
and the body seems to go. And by the way, I got a chance to test this out in real time when I broke off a tooth and I had to have the roots extracted.
Wow.
And I'll show you the video.
Okay.
It's insane because the first root that they did without any anesthesia was incredibly painful.
Right.
But then the pain spiked and I'm like, I'm safe. I just kept saying, I'm okay with this. I accept this. And then the second one, there was not really a lot of pain. It was more just the frustration of somebody digging in and going like that. And by the time she was stitching it up, she was like, I say, I'm sorry. And I'm like, no, don't say you're sorry. Actually, the stitching feels good.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll show you the video. It's pretty incredible. And I went through that because I'm committed to my own experience. If I believe this in my body, then it has to be true for all things.
Right, right.
And so I went through that experience. And what was interesting, because a lot of people had dental surgery, when it was out and it was done, it was tender from where we're jabbing around and poking and ripping the gums. But outside of that, there's no pain. The next day, there was no pain.
Right.
It was just a little tender to touch.
Yeah.
And then it had no hangover because there's no anesthesia. That was my recent, do I believe this or not?
Yeah, yeah. That's super interesting. And I would love to see the video. Acceptance, I think, also goes hand in hand with trust.
Yes.
And I at least my personal experience with fascial maneuvers is it was the gateway for me to trust my body.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Because that really, at the end of it, I believe the body heals itself.
Right. So disease or no disease, whatever a person is experiencing, if we can bring our mind, body, souls into alignment of the fact that we trust what's happening and we can trust our organs, we can trust ourselves to do that innate healing that it's capable of, that already is a safety.
How much do you think that belief plays a role in healing in your research, in your observation of research?
In my observation of research and my own personal life,
yes,
I think it plays a very big role.
Like 20%, 50%?
If I had to put a percentage on it, I would say it's a sliding scale depending on the other factors at play, but I would say at least a 50%, like a good majority contribution. But belief, I think, it's a term.
Yeah, because belief requires evidence.
Yeah.
So I see belief and evidence as a bridge. I believe.
I use trust more.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah. I buy that trust.
Because I think belief is, we think of it as like, I need to believe that I'm going to get well. I need to believe that I'm happy. I think that can be a slippery slope too. I think we don't need to convince ourselves of these things.
That's what people think belief is. I keep
That's what I mean.
It over. Yeah. So what it is that what I say is I believe, I get some evidence. I raise my belief, I get evidence. I raise my belief, I get evidence. I raise my belief, I get evidence. And when I no longer need evidence, then that is faith or trust.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so there's a difference between belief and trust. Okay, so then how important is trust in the healing process? In the middle of all these great conversations, sometimes you still need to take a minute to stop and breathe. Let's do that together. We're going to breathe 3 times to the mouth and 3 times to the nose. This is going to activate and rebalance your parasympathetic nervous system so you can absorb more. Breathe in with me through your mouth. 2. 3. Now 3 breaths through the nose. 2. 3. Now with that simple 6-breath reset, you can go back and enjoy more content.
Incredibly important. That's 100% factor that you need to have.
So we can agree upon that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like the way that you use the word. So I like trust better than faith, because faith kind of just
implies a higher power, religious, component.
And we don't have to go there.
Yeah.
We don't. I mean,
you can if you want to, but you don't have to.
Yeah, and I have faith, immense faith.
Yeah.
But trust is a very good bridge statement. I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So part of it was, for me in my own journey, was learning to trust my body. Like the first thing that happened when I left clinic after 20 years in pain, 30 years, 10 years managing it through my own clinical practice, then getting out, going through prison, all that stuff, solitary confinement, in pain afterwards, practicing for 6 days a week for 10 years. I started to detox when I shut down, and I went 5 days without vomiting, defecating, urinating, sweating, not able to eat, not able to drink, anything at all. And on the 3rd day, even my closest friends like Dr. Atla's like, you have to get an IV, you have to go. And I'm like, no, I'm going. Something tells me that I can trust my body, and if I die, I die. And I made that decision. If this is it, I want to believe.
Yeah.
I want to believe, and I want to trust in my body, and this is my moment to do it.
Right.
And that was a shifting point for me, because that took one of the core myths about the body. It's 3 days without water.
Yeah.
And then that led to the next year doing a 44-day fast and 2 weeks without water.
Yeah.
So that bridged me to a new level of trust.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I didn't have a near-death experience, but a year ago, Alan and I got back on skis, which, as you know, was the cause of the accident. And we met probably a month after that original accident, which was 14 years ago. And so we had decided to go to Lake Tahoe to ski for New Year's. And that was the first day back on skis. Now, my body had a full traumatic response to that experience. I couldn't eat, also couldn't go to the bathroom, was trying to vomit, could not. I was just a mess, essentially, for 3 days straight. And the only thing that got me out of it was fascial maneuvers, because I would just basically be in the bathroom anywhere that we were and was just looking in the mirror and saying the affirmations and doing the openings and the breathing to gain trust back in my body.
I mean, that mechanism, that's how I do it.
Right.
But that mechanism is that there's mechanics behind that. Like, because your body's in panic or fear, there's stress. And stress, you can't see a solution. So when you do a fascial maneuver, how would you explain that medically?
When I do a fascial maneuver, medically, I prefer to explain it energetically, because I feel as though it's both, right? Our cells come into greater alignment with our innate frequency, sort of our natural resonance.
So what does the body do medically when that happens? Scientifically, maybe.
Scientifically, I think our cells begin to oscillate at their norm range.
So that means coming out of stress?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so basically what you're saying in layman's terms is you come out of stress?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we can go like many different layers on this, right? We can go like the little tiny cells, we can go the organs, we can go, you know, our muscles, our fascia, but the point is that they're all oscillating at a certain frequency. And when we can bring the body out of stress in some way, I mean, there's many different ways to bring the body out of stress, but this fascial maneuvers is one self-empowering, easy, quick thing that you can do to bring yourself back in alignment with your body.
It's mechanical.
Yeah.
So even if you can't perceptually get there, you can get there mechanically.
Right.
Yeah.
And you feel it too.
That's what I like about it, because when I'm in that stress cycle and I'm going downhill, I can't talk my brain out of it.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's like whatever illness or issue that the person is maybe going through, pain, whichever form it's coming in, it's in the brain.
Sure.
And to try to talk ourselves out of the programming of that likely deeply ingrained pain program is a steep feat. So
fearing pain versus accepting pain.
Yeah. I get a little iffy with accepting pain because I think it's a little impractical to tell someone that's in that physical pain to say, just accept it, because I don't think they understand what that means.
Yeah, I think you're back down to what is accepting is trusting.
Right.
So like if they don't have the felt experience, and this comes back to a felt experience, like, so what we were talking about earlier is that I didn't have I had a knowledge experience about my body would die after 3 days.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a felt experience. And once I had the felt experience, it allowed me to bridge a greater scale. So I agree with that. It's like trying to tell somebody who is bankrupt and can't buy food that they'll be okay one day.
Yeah. The amount of meditations out there that say to accept your pain, it's like every time it gets me, because I'm like, I don't know.
Okay, so here, if pain is the body's way of communicating, so the human experience, I believe, starts out here. It's all this energy around this, and the body's a part of that human experience. And so this higher frequency is trying to communicate with what we call our consciousness.
Right.
So maybe a better way to say it is, instead of acceptance, it's your body's talking to you. And if the body's talking to you, you have the ability to listen or not listen.
Yeah. Let's find ways to listen.
Yeah, okay, that works, because I agree with you. Accepting the current thing is just accept your pain.
Right.
You know,
and not everyone is going to have the same way to listen, right?
Yeah.
For some people, when they're in pain, they can journal pages and pages, and that's how they listen to their body. For others, they can't even pick up a pen. For some people, they're going to need to speak to an individual in person. For another, they're going to need to get into their body. Others use psychedelics or shamanic practices, or, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But whatever it is, you have to find that way. I think that you can crack open the door to listening to your body. Once it's cracked open, it gets easier and easier.
Sure.
But
yeah, you need that felt experience.
Yeah.
It's that bridging. So topics like, well, we talked about pain, but we've talked about trust and belief, which are very important. What about conscious and subconscious? Because I feel that plays a big role, because there's a subconscious. How would you define the subconscious?
I think the subconscious is in our auric field. And I think that it's also connected to our highest self, our highest power, our true essence, our soul, however you want to term it. There's so many words. But it's that innate openness in our heart that we know to be true, that gut instinct. I think our subconscious is that communication, as well as the communication with our outer environment that exists in the frequency.
You know, because you actually took it a step further than because I'm usually communicating to people on a very practical level, which is every cell in the body has memory.
Yeah.
And the collective of that would be what we think of as our subconscious.
Yeah.
And most practitioners have trouble when I ask them the questions. I say, well, okay, it's in your subconscious. I say, so where does subconscious exist in the body?
Yeah.
And that's usually the stumping question.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that you said it's in the field, the auric field.
Yeah. I think subconscious exists everywhere and it's always around us. That's why I use the term field, because no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, our subconscious is there. To say it's in our cells, yes, it gives something tangible. And I do believe in many ways. Of course, our cells store memory, our cells store our trauma, our fascia stores all of those emotions and everything. But the subconscious, I think, I prefer to accept the fact that it's something intangible.
Okay, so then that actually goes along with the way we see fascia, which is fascia is just a crystal transport agent, like a crystal on your phone. So
Yeah.
it's just transporting the subconscious memory, felt experience, and then we're observing it.
Yeah.
So what would you say the consciousness is?
Consciousness in that sense is an interpretation of our subconscious based on our memories, experiences, and visual, acuities, or our senses, and how we interpret our subconscious out. Like if you're thinking of it as a funnel, the subconscious comes in.
Mm-hmm.
The conscious level has our visual senses, it has our memories, it has our emotions, and now we push that subconscious out through all of that and we get an output of what our conscious.
Sure. So it's an observation of all of the.
Yes.
So what if I said a human being was a collection of experiences to date expressing itself?
Yeah, but how far back are we going?
Well, I mean, but you can take that in multiple layers.
Yeah.
It's a collection of known experiences in this world, but
Yeah.
then I believe that like when I was 5 years old and I saw a coffin, I had a visceral, freaked out experience. But I didn't have television when I was a kid, so I didn't know what a coffin was. But something gave me a physical experience in my body. I wrote about it. I wrote a
Right.
piece. I was channeling a piece about understanding the human experience.
Mm-hmm.
And specific. Did you ever read that piece?
No,
Oh, I'll share it with
you'll
you.
need to send it to me.
Yeah, because what it was is I was trying to explain, how does my physical body know that there's something to be afraid of there?
Uh-huh.
And then the observation was that it was afraid, even though I didn't know. Like some
Right.
people are afraid of snakes or spiders, or some people aren't.
Yeah.
And then furthermore, what is it? Because that is a reality, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
So then what's the mechanism that reality transports it into the physical, biological presence of the body?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That for sure happens.
So I actually wrote, hold on a second here. Understanding what governs the reaction of the human body happens when it's remembered through the viewpoints of its past lives. In understanding the past lives of a person, we can understand how the body behaves in the environment today. The human body is a collection of experiences of the soul through many lifetimes, each lifetime carrying memories of emotions, thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions into the current lifetime, expressing itself moment by moment or in real time. The human life is not measured through time, but expressed through experiences in which time passes through it. So, do you remember the first time that you were kissed by a boy?
Mm-hmm.
Was it night or day?
Night.
Was it summer or winter?
Summer.
How old were you?
I want to say like 12.
How would you know you were 12?
Like the time period of what I was doing. And
So yeah, what was the time period? Like 6th grade, 5th grade?
yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Okay, so because time is not linear, but we're taught to memorize time in a linear fashion.
Yeah, yeah.
So what we do is we take an experience and then we attribute a time marker, which is fictitious,
Yeah.
to that experience to explain time. So the human body is a collection of experiences of the soul through many lifetimes, each lifetime carrying memories of emotions, thoughts, and beliefs and perceptions into the current lifetime, expressing itself moment by moment in real time. The human life is not measured through time, but expressed through experiences in which time passes through it. So the experience was you got kissed by a boy. And then we look for a measurement of time, because I know that I was in the 5th grade or it was in the summer.
Yeah.
Time is a thread that passes through the lives of the soul and then is perceived through those experiences. Time is created so that the soul is able to experience. And the soul is an extension of Creator, God. I'll use God. Therefore, God experiences emotions, thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions as a thread that weaves through the lives of the soul. So I believe that a creator doesn't experience emotions, and that's why this exists, and we're all tentacles of that creator.
Right.
Having these emotional experiences, feeding back, and kind of that makes God like a voyeur.
Yeah.
They kind of like look and say, whoa,
Yeah.
didn't expect that one.
Right.
So we are not a body that has a soul, but rather a soul that's having a body. And I know that the Buddha says the soul that has a body, but that implies ownership. And I said that we don't own these bodies. A soul incarnates in this world to experience. Experience is derived through contrast. As we breathe, we use hormonal muscular energy to expand our chest against the forces, atmospheric pressure and gravity, while simultaneously drawing air into our lungs with a vacuum. This contrasted action creates an exchange of air from the outside the body to the inside of the body. And the contrast of this reaction creates the amazing production of electricity, powering our ability to live in this world. So that was what I wrote to try to explain to myself. It was a channeled piece. And it was to try to explain how something from the unseen or from a memory from another time got into my consciousness.
Right, right.
And how I reacted to it.
Right. But do you remember the moments where you have flashbacks to your past lives? Like, are those vivid for you?
They come through the reflection of other people, because I've done this with you.
Yeah.
And when I do this with you, what was your experience?
Well, it's twofold. I have had individually experiences where I feel like I have been able to go into those past times and see who was there and how they've crossed into this lifetime.
Yeah.
So that's given me almost like a tangible, like, understanding of how we're moving through time and how people are showing up in this lifetime.
Why we keep bumping into each other.
Right. Right. But the experience with you, it's like I'm getting, it's like all time and space just stops and we're just getting synced and almost like reconnected to be like, hey, I'm here, you're here. We were there before and we'll be there in the future, but we're here right now in this lifetime and doing this.
Yeah.
And it helps, again, if we bring it back to like trust and safety, it helps the body to trust the fact that it's here for a reason and that we're here and we're connected for a reason. And everyone we encounter for a reason.
And because I use astrology as a way to see the matrix.
Yeah.
And I draw up those connections in real time.
Yeah.
So that, okay, why do you feel about our connection?
I think that in many ways, you have pushed me thus far to really think through how to blend the worlds of the traditional medical system that I so badly wanted to be a part of my entire life. And this, I'm going to call it this other space that is so vast and large where people do have the ability to heal themselves. And you have sort of opened this window for me to see how those two worlds can blend together. And I think a lot of our future and the work that we'll do together in the future will really highlight that and help bridge clinicians, researchers, people, and just create that openness.
Does it feel like we've done this before? Thanks for watching and tuning in. These conversations have radically shifted my life, and I want you to experience those radical shifts too. Take these conversations and integrate them into your body by joining one of our Fascial Maneuver Reset programs. Introduction to Fascial Maneuvers, 7-day reset or 28-day reset. We're gonna put the links below. Take that cerebral knowledge and that experience that you're having right now and bring it into your life by resetting it in your body. These programs have radically shifted my life, and I know they'll radically shift yours. Don't wait another moment. Reset your life today.
Yeah, in a way, it feels like I can almost see us like teaching the clinicians and the practitioners and getting them to experience those tangible experiences of the maneuvers and the openness.
Experience.
Yeah, because and it makes so much sense to me to do that because I'm like, well, we probably did it already.
Yeah.
Right?
And we have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do see that. So I generally, when somebody reappears in my space, I ask the bigger question. Okay, why?
Yeah.
And then I look at astrology to try and see if I can pinpoint it why. And that's actually it's not really important. I mean, some people I do it every day. I mean, I know the astrology of every single person. They serve me at a restaurant. I know basically who they are. They drive me in an Uber. They're a cashier. I know the astrology of every person I interact with in any kind of detail.
Yeah.
And because for me, that's my entertainment. It's like seeing through the matrix.
Right, right.
And so, I knew right away actually that it took me a couple of times meeting you to know that we're supposed to do this.
Right.
And that's why a year ago I said, do you want to have this conversation?
Right, right.
And I was just waiting for it to be time.
Yeah.
Because you had to go through your process.
Yes, and it's always perfect divine timing because at the time that we talked a year ago, I think it was in Mexico, I was really on the cusp of thinking to start a foundation in the Cancer realm. And while that's still in, the forefront of my mind, the year has opened me up to so much more. And it's all come together perfectly because I think that it's shown me I want to go further than just the Cancer realm. I don't want to call it just, but I think that expansion of the principles of the foundation that I wanted can really go further. And I think the work that we will do together with actual practitioners and people in the space is what's going to trickle into the masses of the people.
Yeah, because I can give them the felt experience and you can help them rationalize the reason for that felt experience.
Yeah. I feel like I have like two brains. Like one is like, it thinks in time does not exist and we have so many lives that we're living concurrently and all of this. And then I have to explain this to the scientists.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You do, and that's why we're doing this. I mean, I've just been giving it time and space waiting for you to be at this point. And yesterday was the day you said I'm finally at this point.
Well, it's funny because we talked about the twos.
Yeah.
And you pointed out the almost full moon yesterday. Yeah. And then today is the full moon is in Cancer.
That's right.
Which is a 2.
Which is a 2.
Yeah.
And so it's all about caregiving.
Right.
And feeling.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what you've invested your life in.
Yeah.
So, tricky subjects. What about viruses?
Viruses.
We're simultaneously on a journey, learning some new stuff. I did an interview with Dr. Brian Ardis.
Yeah.
And he brought a new way of looking at things.
Yeah.
And also talked to Dr. Tom Cowan, who says there are no viruses.
Yeah. I, for myself, think that, like I said, I try to stay really open. And I got to listen to that talk by Dr. Brian Ardis, and I was so fascinated by what he had to say. Now, I obviously bought his book, and I'm going to read it very, And I'm
going to get you to summarize it.
Well, the book talks about he says the Latin term of virus, where that word actually comes from, is a poison or a toxin, especially from a snake venom.
Yes.
And so a lot of his book describes the ways in which he can trace back the fact that our viruses that we have been exposed to or have had to have vaccines against are rooted in those same like snake venom expressions.
Yes.
Of one that would get from a snake bite.
Yeah, and the proteins are also in the urine and the saliva. And he also evidenced all the government research that proved that.
There is a lot of research that he brings to support everything. And I think as a scientist, it's my job not to shut anything down.
To listen to.
Yeah, to listen to it, to do my own due diligence. And I've definitely heard some people on the internet and in person even say, oh, well, he's just a chiropractic doctor. He's not a real doctor.
Yeah, I get that.
But I think...
But he was a researcher like you, though. That's where he started.
Yes, yes.
So he became a chiropractor to apply some sort of physical aspect to his research.
But most people don't really. You know, they just see DC.
Surface level. They only read the headline. Yeah.
But I think the point is that it takes a lot of skill and it takes a lot of time to rigorously go through thousands and thousands of pages of data, years and years back, and dig that information and piece out what the science is actually saying. And he's done that. And he's collected it and he's put it together in a way that he was able to formulate it into a book. And I'm very intrigued and open to listening and learning about it.
Very plausible and and it gave me new reasons to.
My life experience has shown me nothing is impossible at this point.
Yeah.
So anything is out there.
Yeah.
And
I think this is the best part about you too, is because you have this real life experience which has been driving you simultaneously along the research and the clinical aspects of it.
Yeah, definitely.
And a lot of clinicians don't have the real life experience. That's the challenge.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I always felt almost like a fraud in a way because I'm not the person that has the illness or the pain or the whatever it may be. It's my partner.
Careful. You don't want to end up.
No, exactly. You know what?
And
I had that conversation with Chris Witecki at your event, and he told me, be careful because we can manifest that in our space.
Yeah, I definitely have manifested the felt experience of everything. Like I can look at my astrology now and know that I made these things happen in order to be the person I am today. But I also accept that all of those things that happened to me are the reason why I am this way.
For sure.
And so I am not resentful about it. I was for a long time, but I'm not now.
Yeah. I mean, mind you, I've done a lot of work now individually to move past that point of I'm not a fraud. I have experienced exactly what I've experienced and for a reason.
You're using the experience that you have brought to you instead of having to have it, which is actually really cool.
Yeah. And I think in many ways, like that whole belief system of the fact that I wasn't the one experiencing something to be able to speak about it is I was just reinforcing a childhood trauma of the fact that I needed to be less than and I needed to, not be not be the one in the spotlight.
Yeah.
And so now that I'm able to sort of consciously, and it's a daily practice of moving past that, like you said, I think it's a very unique perspective for me. And I feel like I have such a unique lens to be able to support both clinicians, patients, caregivers, people that are in pain physically, and help bridge all of those pieces
because you've been
together.
around it.
Exactly.
Like I'd take experience over academic any day.
Yeah.
So, is it genetically, scientifically true that when I'm born, I have all of the diseases that exist in the world already in my genome and my DNA?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that we are all born with a set of DNA that obviously we gather from our parents and our ancestors and et cetera. But the way that DNA is expressed is dependent on many things. Yeah. The structures,
but I mean, we have the potential, is what I'm saying.
Yes, and certain
because
people,
it was all there. So
yes.
So if I have the potential, that means it's already part somewhere of my genetic.
I mean, I
line.
think the potential is everywhere. Like,
Okay, so
I don't think that it's just.
Can I catch something from you?
Yeah, you could catch anything.
Biologically?
No.
Okay. There we go. So
I hear
basically,
you.
if my frequency is attuned, I can catch your frequency, which then may have the same physiological experiences of you.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Because I get all these people that, I mean, as a kid, I grew up like fearing sexually transmitted diseases. Like it was bizarre to an insane level.
Is that
And
from a religious perspective?
it was from I don't know what it's programming, I'd say.
Okay.
Program. I don't think it was religious.
Yeah.
I think it was more just programming.
Yeah.
And or cancer, or I had all these fears and that I was having I'd have these diseases.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've seen people in my own practice that have, like physically been sleeping with somebody who is diagnosed with AIDS.
Yeah.
And, after 10 years of not knowing, neither one knowing that that was the case, not have the other person not having it. And I've seen studies that show 85% of people that are unknowing that the other one has a disease that's supposed to be transmitted biology doesn't have it. So it just brought the bigger question is it transferred biologically or energetically?
No, it's for sure energetically.
Okay.
Because I was going to bring up the idea of parasites.
Parasites, yeah.
Because I think I've heard in the scope of parasites that they can be transmitted sexually.
Yeah.
But that's not biologically.
Yeah, but parasites also need the environment, right?
Yeah.
Like if I have a strong enough energetic constitution, the question is, do I get those parasites? And the parasites, I mean, like what Dr. Brian Artis is saying, you put tobacco or you put nicotine in, parasites all go away.
Right.
Or we have the current one, which is coming up again. It's ivermectin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anti-parasitic, and it's doing really well with cancer. It's also doing really well with Parkinson's and MS and all these other things.
Yeah.
So, and one thing, I don't know who the researcher was, but just recently showed massive parasitic activity in all of those disease pathologies. And currently I've been censored for talking about diatomaceous earth, which is an anti-parasitic.
Yeah.
Because I believe it's free.
Right.
I mean, it's virtually free. It's like cost nothing.
Yeah.
So parasites are definitely one.
Yeah. And what do you think parasites are? Sorry to throw the question back.
No,
Curious.
okay. So what happens is that I think that what we call a virus or a parasite, it's there to stimulate a response and for the body to move over it. And if I accept it, acknowledge it, and I am healthy in my mind state and being, then my body gains an immunity, or call it immunity, to say another word, gets information that expands my ability to adapt to the environment by getting over it. Because if I have somebody that does something that hurts me physically, and I get over it, I adapt.
Yeah, yeah.
If I get somebody who hurts me emotionally and I get over it, I adapt.
Yeah.
If I have a parasite and that hurts me,
yeah,
biologically, I get over it and I adapt. So each one of those are there. I believe it's all good.
Yeah.
That everything is in our world to help us. And as a result of that, when I have a parasite, it's there to help me move over a state of awareness. Now, here's something that's interesting. I have been the guy growing up in Canada that every mosquito attacked. Like, I'm the guy that would be at the party, and I'm the only guy that would go like this and have to leave. And since I have changed my frequency, the bizarrest things, like when we're in Mexico, everybody's getting bit by mosquitoes, and I don't get one bite ever.
Wow.
And this is all within the last 4 years, 4 years, I guess. So my question is, are the bugs attracted to my carbon monoxide, or are they attracted to my energy? And one thing we did notice in scale, because in Tulum, when people get bit, they get hundreds of bites.
Right, right.
So I noticed that, like somebody who has a lot of Scorpio will get all down here, which is gallbladder.
Right.
Or an Aries or somebody dealing with anger would get all through up there.
Right.
So I would say that the insects were not attacking us, but they were helping us, our body, deal with something that was stuck.
Right. It's the same idea as people I know a lot of people that have a lot of allergic reactions to mosquito bites, and like they flare up and they get these huge histamine reactions. It's probably a signal to the fact that there's something going on.
Yeah, in that area.
Yeah,
because like right there is large intestines grief, which is grief is a very heavily dominant emotion in our society.
Yeah,
right?
Or maybe even something related to the histamine reaction, like you need to look towards your immunity, you need to look towards why your body is attacking this.
Yeah, it's
so
like pay
much.
attention.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And so that if I don't need the bite, I don't get it. Now, this has been because I work with dogs, and quite often, and I've been bit by dogs several times, and I'm like, what am I doing that makes the dog want to bite me?
Right.
You know, and they're teaching me to, like, what I have noticed is that I'll come with them with the same force of energy I use with a human.
Right.
And when I do that, they immediately want to attack. So I like calming because I want to get it done.
Right.
You see me work with a human, I go fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the dogs don't like that.
I was going to say, the same way that you asked for permission before working on humans, do you do the same practice with the dogs?
You know what? It's funny that you should ask that because I don't. But the reason, there's two types of dogs. The ones that will, like, walking down the street, to just stop right in front of me and will not move until I address them. And those ones are asking for it. So those are the
Right.
ones. It's the ones that are that come in and visit or something like that may not.
Yeah.
The owner wants it, but maybe the dog doesn't.
This is such a parallel to people,
Yeah.
to your patients, because
Thank you. I think I'm going to start asking the dogs.
because people, it's like me forcing my mom or something to go to a nutritionist.
Doesn't work.
It doesn't work because she hasn't given that allowance for this person to enter her field or for this person to help them. She shouldn't even say that she wants it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You're making me rethink something. Getting permission from the animals. I noticed that the horses, when I worked with horses and they're in a herd,
Yeah.
there was a specific order. When I went out of the order, the most dominant horse would come over and, like, try to kick me.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, the horse would make sure I touched it when it knew I was doing that. It would make sure I got to everybody else, and then it took the care.
Yeah.
That was a really, really powerful experience.
Yeah. And horses, I would say, I mean, horses are extremely spiritual, right? And they embody our energy. They can feel it, they sense it. That's how we connect to horses and ride on them. Dogs are the same.
Yeah.
I would say. And all animals, really.
Yeah. Dogs especially, because dogs are dogs always have the diseases of the owners.
Yeah.
And so animals, especially dogs, are taking away the emotions that we're not dealing with.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've also noticed that in my career that clinical practitioners, long-term ones like rheumatoid arthritis, nurses, they tend to get RA at the end of their career. I've noticed that to be a pattern for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's the same way that you told me to be cautious about not manifesting something that I've been caring for. It's the same concept that we need to really, be mindful of.
And I want to take that back a little bit. You don't need to be cautious. You're already in recognition of the things that you need to observe it, not be a part of it. To say to be cautious would not correctly illustrate the felt experience that I've seen you demonstrate.
Yeah.
I guess more of a joke.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. But I think it is an important point to recognize, just as a clinician, as anyone that gives care to other people, our field is sacred. No matter how many people we want to help, we need to make sure that this field, like we talked about, the subconscious, the auric field, it's safe, it's protected. And when we feel okay about it, I think when you approach patients and try to work with them, you need to make sure that you are in your own before approaching them, right?
100%.
So you protect your own auric field, and then moving forward, the return is that that individual has allowed you to enter their space, whether it's an animal, a person, a plant, whatever it may be.
Yeah, for sure. And I have started to think about plants. I used to rip off the leaves as I go by. Now I don't do that.
Yeah.
So let's to wrap this up. And this is the first of many that we're going to have, I'm sure, because we're going to get into some really deep topics over time. Talking to a practitioner, a doctor, a medical doctor, you're a researcher, and you have been researching fascial maneuvers, energetic process as a part of your way of understanding and delivering information and care for the human experience.
Mm-hmm.
So what should a doctor of any kind that's watching this what do you want them to take away? What can they do? What can they take away? What are the next steps?
Yeah, I think something we touched on, but I think a really important piece of it is to try these things for themselves.
Sure.
Is to really get out there. It doesn't matter whether you're in pain, not in pain, have a disease, don't have a disease. I'm sure that there are many practitioners out there that struggle with their own things and own disturbances of life. Get out there and try it. And also be open to the fact that the masses and what they're experiencing really matters. And by listening to what's out there and being open, you can start to make incremental difference in the traditional academic field. You know, it might be a slower process than what we have access to through philanthropy and social media and et cetera, but it's important. The more and more people that start to make these steps in the academic realm, the bigger difference we're going to make long term.
Sure, I agree. This is our first paper together.
Yeah.
Done in digital format, and they can cite it, reference it, share it with other friends, have their own experience.
Yeah.
Reach out back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they want to reach out to you, how would they do it?
Well, my email at USC is dkagrama@uci.edu.
Okay, we'll put that in the notes.
Yeah, we'll put that in the notes. Yeah, hopefully soon I will put out some more information sort of online where people can reach out to me through social media and things like that. And if that's out before this episode comes out, we'll also put it in the notes.
Okay, cool. And do you want to talk to people about this?
Yeah. These conversations is really what fuels me. And the more people that I can crack open to really, be willing and to try these methods and to try to see how these things can shift clinical practice, the better.
I have a feeling this is the start of a real turning point. I mean, you have the perfect blend of experience and intellectual knowledge and research to be able to talk with authority to people. And that's really, at this point, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for someone that can help them feel safe in the world that they're coming from to the world that they're trying to learn.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have enough personal experience to be able to bridge that gap.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm hoping to bring forth the trust that I have within myself so that sort of fosters outwardly to the fact that they can trust me to take these steps.
This is it's been fantastic. I mean, conversation today was more than expected. So
thank you. It was awesome.
Thanks for tuning in. And if you enjoyed this content, follow us on social media channels, The Human Garage Experience, Apple, Spotify, and all other channels. We're on a mission to inspire 1 billion people worldwide, and the way that you participate is by liking, subscribing, and sharing our content. Every share that you take brings us one step closer to that billion people. This has been a fantastic episode. We enjoyed presenting it to you. Be a part of this worldwide revolution and share it now.